Lot of people are raising hand. Please just hold on. We have 15 minutes still to go. I just want to give a justice to all. I don't want to leave them from exam.
Change management, I think we are, at this point in time, somehow limiting ourselves to the top governing officials. I think there's a huge mass of government officers down the line who need to be educated and whose mindset we need to look at. The set of people we're discussing here are people who are already enlightened. For them, changing is something which is in their own hands. They can do it. Take a look at the mobile. I doubt very much if a UDC, an LDC, or anybody in the government, even a PM, would stop his or her child from buying one. He has seen benefit in that. What I think we need to do along with the government is to work on some innovative programs which would actually enlighten the people down the line as to what is it that IT is doing for them, what is it that e-governance will do for them, and how will it improve their own lives and the lives of other people around them. Once that happens, I think much of the challenge that the senior bureaucrats face will also be taken care of. So I believe that we need to work more on the lower sections of government where the actual challenge is rather than on the top people who are decision makers and understand what this business of change management is all about.
I would like to say whether we can look at possibility of creating institutional mechanism which would to a certain extent address the so-called lack of political will that we feel is there, something which will not make it optional. I mean, it is not that the bureaucracy wanted RTI to happen, and I'm going back to the RTI example, but today it's an act, and like it or not, everyone has to abide by it. So can we not possibly look at possible mandate which is statutory in nature, which is compelling in nature, which will, to begin with, have to come from the political will, is required to bring in such a mandate. And that will then possibly drive. I totally agree. I mean, when we are looking at change management, we should not really look only at the political will part of it. We should look at the large mass of bureaucracy down below. But having said that, in a setup like government, I would like to mention where there are very limited ways of motivating government employees. Governments have over a period of time developed a certain amount of inertia of not moving very fast. A drive from the top would possibly be the fastest way, and therefore I would like to re-emphasize the need for driving it from the top through some institutional mechanism. Thank you.
So regarding change management, what I feel is that the political will is very important, not for the change itself, but affecting the change management. In the last few sessions, we had been going through that certain change managements need synergy of 2, 3, 4 departments. There are, you see, the land records and the registration. So if the change management is affected, if the change management has to be effective, it has to have a very coordinated effort both at the state and the central level. I think that political will here also comes important, that how much time the ministers, the senior bureaucrats will give or can give, it will depend on the political will. And so, second point I want to impress on everyone, that literacy and language, these are two very important. So it is being said that China is moving very fast compared to India. The statistics also showed that. That's what Chinese public school are better than the best of the Indian schools. So one of my friend's daughter had been teaching in China during her summer recess. So what I've got the feedback that at least at the infrastructure wise, the way that China has given the importance to its education is mind-boggling. So for getting the e-governance really effective across the nation, we have to improve the quality of the basic literacy and the basic computer literacy also.
I feel sometimes there's a lack of political will because of lack of awareness. So I feel that we should advise our political leadership to go through some awareness programs, computer awareness programs, e-governance awareness programs. I'll give an example. Last year we got our entire political leadership to Hyderabad, to NISG, for a 2-day workshop. And the leadership was, of course, the political leaders were all led by my Honorable Minister, Shri N.K. Pradhan. And they were put through a 2 days grilling and indoctrination on what is e-governance, and they were taken to some exposure field visits, e-Seva project happening in Hyderabad, the Twin project, and that made a sea change in their attitude. Once they got back, they were making mentions about e-governance in their speeches, public speeches, and it has got citizens now coming to the CSCs, and they tell them that, okay, you don't have to go to a government office to, get a form. You can just go to the nearest CSC and get a form. You save a lot of money in the process. You save travel costs, etc. Thank you.
Thanks. I think there is some audience wanted raised hand. My suggestion to you is don't ask question, give a solution. We have enough problems already stated. I don't want one more problem. Yeah, please.
My name is P.K. Misra. I work for Novel Software. I think I was a little surprised that nobody touched about the point among the difficulties, that is the lack of content. I think there are two things. I myself worked in the government for about 10-12 years before being in the industry for the last 12 years. I think there are two problems that we have got. Probably we don't have enough of content in the e-gov projects. The second thing is interfaces are definitely little outdated compared to the new generation stuff that is happening. Okay. And I definitely believe that probably efficiency will be higher if you spend less money and generate more content. This is my submission.
Shivaj.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a mic. I think good number of the constraints have been identified.
I think it will be nice if you can tell, because then that would help to understand your viewpoint. I know what you have done already, but I thought better if you say.
Thank you, Chairman. I am Shivaji, currently working as a Chief Executive Officer, Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation. Before this, I was IT Secretary, Maharashtra.
Yeah, that's where he comes from, so his views are important.
Thank you. I think good number of the insights and the constraints have been reflected by the different resource persons. Basically 3 points which Chairman you have pointed out. One is the political will, literacy and change management. Political will, I think it is typical like every one of us, we always like to see on the neighbor's window, neighbor's house, finding out that, and we should give them advices. Why can't we start from ourselves? I can tell you, at least many of us who are working here, if we like to implement a e-governance project, who will dare telling us not to start? Who will dare us telling that you don't do like this? In the current socio-economic environment, it's more in the government departments. If you take initiatives, I can tell you everybody, they may not support you, but they will never dare to stop you also. So what is required probably, then instead of suggesting others that there is some lack of wills on other front, who advises them? We. It is we who take all these initiatives, we suggest them, and we put up the files. So my suggestions are, improvement starts from I. And all the solutions, my view is that there are some, all the constraint has a solutions. Like seeing the shadow, we should not run away. We must realize when there is a shadow, then there is a bright light just nearby. In that context, let me give you two typical examples. Like in India, who is the biggest sellers, largest sellers of the camera? Yes. This is Nokia, not Panasonic, not the traditional camera manufacturers.